Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm pinch hitting now for Joanne Alfieri. We've had a little technical difficulty, so I'm just stepping in until we can get her connected. All right. So welcome everybody to an evening of Rising to the Challenge, featuring the 7 areas of focus with Marty Hellman and the Rotary Foundation with Brenda Cressy. We welcome the incredible knowledge of these 2 individuals, which will prove to be instrumental in your year ahead. Marty will share with us how the areas of focus can inspire our efforts and attract a wider range of resources in our clubs. And Brenda will provide insight and a vision of the worldwide reach of the resources made available through our gifts, creating opportunities for change in the betterment of humanity. But before we begin, please let me welcome to the program Dick Hall, District Governor-elect from District 7780, to introduce his governor track. Dick?
Welcome to New England Presidents-elect training. My name is Dick Hall, and I'm the District 7780 Governor-elect. My sister, current president of the Westbrook Rotary Club, and I are 3rd-generation Rotarians. I've been a Rotarian since 1984 and have been a member of 3 Rotary clubs and 3 Rotary districts. I'm pleased that my daughter makes 4 generations in Rotary, and she will be co-president next year of the Portland Sunrise Rotary Club. I'm a semi-retired mechanical engineer, and I'm currently working on offshore wind and environmental projects. I've been a member of the Portland, Maine Rotary Club since 1997. I'm fortunate to have been able to work on Rotary-funded clean water projects in Haiti, Honduras, and the Dominican Republic. District 7780 is made up of 41 clubs and 2 Rotaract clubs in southern Maine and coastal New Hampshire. Our clubs have been very active in international and community service. Over the last year, like many others, our clubs have focused on the immediate community needs due to the COVID pandemic. This has ranged from providing food and PPE to completing outdoor recreation projects. We are proud that our clubs assisted with getting the emergency medical services groups equipped to vaccinate themselves and others. We have an active substance use disorder support network and have recently begun work to provide training to assist those who have experienced adverse childhood experiences. It gives me pleasure to introduce our fearless leader, District Governor Peggy Belanger, an oncology nurse from the Kennebunk Portside Rotary Club. Peggy has been leading our district through these challenging times and has recently put her nursing skills to work giving COVID vaccinations. Our district governor nominee is Claudia Frost, a retired music and choral educator who is keenly interested in Rotary's work for world peace, and her club sponsored Rotary scholar Lonnie Hackett, who was recently awarded the Donald McCrae Peace Award from Rotary Zone 32. Claudia is a member of the Brunswick, Maine Rotary Club. District Governor nominee designate Marion Cheney joined Rotary in 1990. She is a well-respected residential realtor. Marion has represented Rotary on the Equity Vision Keepers Task Force for the city of Dover, New Hampshire, where she is currently a member of the Dover Rotary Club. Thank you, and back to Joanne or Billy, who's ever there.
Thank you, Dick. We're still waiting for Joanne, but thank you for the interesting facts for your district. And now we will hear from Mike Currier, District Governor-elect from District 7850. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Billy. Let me introduce you to the amazing teammates of mine from the 7850, an area of 40 dynamic clubs and 5 Rotaract clubs that covers northern Vermont and northern New Hampshire and parts of southern Quebec. Now, in the photo there on the far left is our illustrious District Governor, Jamie Milne from the St. Johnsbury Club in Vermont, shown here with his daughter as they are out taking part in a rail trail ride fundraising event. Jamie is a financial planner by profession, and he is a second generation district governor following in his father George's footsteps. Jamie says that this year's theme of Rotary Opens Opportunities was a perfect fit for him, as he's been able to witness so many clubs seizing upon new opportunities for service and connection that this pandemic has created. In the middle is our district governor nominee, Caroline Earl, seen here holding the silver tongs in this photo taken on a Barry Rotary Club cleanup day. Caroline is an attorney with her own practice, loves hands-on projects, as you can see, and has a passion for membership, especially when it comes to creating innovative clubs. Finally, on the right, we have District Governor nominee designate Susan Cherry, shown here with other St. Johnsbury Rotarians assisting in a food drive. She has a passion for international projects and the impact they can have on changing people's lives. Susan's daytime job is as an executive director of a nonprofit agency specializing in conflict resolution, which makes her role as our youth exchange chair perfect. Like the other members of this team, I'm honored to work with and support our amazing clubs that stretch across some of the most scenic landscape in the Northeast and into Canada. My own Rotary journey began in Ketchum, Sun Valley, Idaho in 1981, when a friend in town invited me to attend a meeting. And I was immediately hooked by the camaraderie and the desire to make our community and the world a place where everyone thrives. In that light, I'm so impressed with the way so many clubs in these 7850, as well as our neighboring districts, have come together, responding to this pandemic by distributing masks through our clubs to so many agencies, schools, first responders, just about anyone in need. Friends, this is us. Billy, back to you.
Thanks a lot. It looks like Joanne is trying to come in and she hasn't arrived yet, but hopefully she'll get here. So thanks, Mike. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce David Sampson, District Governor nominee from my district, District 7950, who will speak about a program the DGNs have developed on the Rotary Foundation Education Moment. David?
Thank you, Billy. Good evening. I'm David Sampson. It is my honor to be the District Governor nominee for District 7950, which includes Southeastern Massachusetts, Cape Cod, and all of Rhode Island. I'm a member of the Warren Sandwich Rotary Club. We're right at the entrance to Cape Cod. You cannot go on Cape Cod or off without going right by us, so we want you to visit us whenever you can. Over the next 5 nights, the District Governor nominees will be presenting a brief Rotary Foundation education moment each night. We would like to invite you to join us by becoming a member of the NEPETS 2021 team on the new Raise for Rotary platform and help us to eradicate polio. Check out the NEPETS House of Friendship at nepetshof.org in the best practices section to learn how to join and then share your fundraising page on social media. My Rotary Foundation question for today is, what is the plus for in Polio Plus? Since 1985, Rotary's key humanitarian priority has been to rid the world of polio. Rotary spearheaded the campaign at a time when there were over 1,000 new polio cases a day. 370,000 additional children contracting polio in 125 countries each year, paralyzing and killing children. In 2020, the number of cases was 17. Over the past 35 years, Rotary members working with communities around the world have contributed more than $2.1 billion in countless volunteer hours to fight to end polio. Because of the efforts of Rotary and our partners, nearly 19 million people who would have otherwise been paralyzed are walking. And more than 1.5 million people are alive that would otherwise be dead. Last year, we achieved a milestone with Africa being declared wild polio free. There are only 2 countries left with endemic wild polio, Pakistan and Afghanistan. So what is the plus for? The plus indicates Rotary's support for protecting children against all vaccine preventable diseases. We do not want children protected from polio paralysis, dying of diphtheria, measles, or whooping cough, all of which are vaccine preventable diseases, or from lack of clean water. Over the past year, we have each had the opportunity to experience the effects of uncontrolled disease in our lives. We have the good fortune to have the technology to develop vaccines, and hope is on the horizon. Unfortunately, not everyone in our world has this advantage. We are this close to eradicating polio from the world. We can all make a difference. We can participate in Polio Plus initiatives. We can arrange celebrations for World Polio Day on Sunday, October 24th, 2021. We can volunteer for National Immunization Day in India or Africa. We can donate to Rotary's Polio Plus program. We can help educate others, knowing that the added plus assures that we'll be moving to a world where children will be protected from all vaccine preventable diseases. As we rise to the challenge, and as we serve to change lives, let us undertake to complete the pledge made by Rotary in 1985 and finish the job of eradicating polio. Thank you.
Thank you much, David. Joanne, welcome. So glad to see you.
Oh my goodness, what will go wrong will definitely go wrong. So,
Take it away, Joanne.
well, let's see. Let me just get to where Dave left off and then I'll pick it up. How's that?
That's good.
Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you, and I'm sorry that we had technical difficulties. So sometimes it takes a disaster to bring you back to reality, an opportunity that you didn't see coming to make you stop and smell the roses, so to speak. Caught up in our everyday life, we fail to see that which is right in front of us. A way to start over, a new beginning, to do what is right. Spend time together in a different way. Enjoy the great outdoors like never before, and dream of better days. Please join us to watch The Great Realization, the post-pandemic poem that has captured the hearts of millions.
Tell me the one about the virus again, then I'll go to bed.
But my boy, you're growing weary, sleepy thoughts about your head.
Please, that one's my favourite. I promise, just once more.
Okay, snuggle down, my boy, though I know you know full well. The story starts before then, in a world I once would dwell. It was a world of waste and wonder, of poverty and plenty. back before we understood why hindsight's 2020. You see, the people came up with companies to trade across all lands, but they swelled and got much bigger than we ever could have planned. We'd always had our wants, but now it got so quick. You could have anything you dreamed of in a day, and with a click. We noticed families had stopped talking. That's not to say they never spoke, but the meaning must have melted, and the work-life balance broke. And the children's eyes grew squarer, and every toddler had a phone. They filtered out the imperfections, but amidst the noise, they felt alone. And every day the skies grew thicker, till you couldn't see the stars. So we flew in planes to find them, while down below, we filled our cars. We'd drive around all day in circles. We'd forgotten how to run. We swapped the grass for tarmac, shrunk the parks till there were none. We filled the sea with plastic, because our waste was never capped, until each day when you went fishing, you'd pull them out, already wrapped. And while we drank and smoked and gambled, our leaders taught us why. It's best to not upset the lobbies. More convenient to die. But then in 2020, a new virus came our way. The governments reacted and told us all to hide away. But while we all were hidden, amidst the fear and all the while, the people dusted off their instincts. They remembered how to smile. They started clapping to say thank you and calling up their mums. And while the car keys gathered dust, they would look forward to their runs. And with the skies less full of voyagers, the earth began to breathe, and the beaches bore new wildlife that scuttled off into the seas. Some people started dancing, some were singing, some were baking. We'd grown so used to bad news, but some good news was in the making. And so when we found the cure, and were allowed to go outside, we all preferred the world we found to the one we'd left behind. Old habits became extinct, and they made way for the new, and every simple act of kindness was now given its due.
But why did it take a virus to bring the people back together?
Well, sometimes you've got to get sick, my boy, before you start feeling better. Now lie down and dream of tomorrow, and all the things that we can do. And who knows, if you dream hard enough, maybe some of them will come true. We now call it the Great Realization. And yes, since then there have been many. But that's the story of how it started, and why hindsight's 2020.
Wow, that was really great. So for those of you that don't know me, and for those of you that do, I'd like to say hello and welcome you all to Northeast Pets. We are a little bit out of sorts, but I think we're back on track, and that's what we need to do. So I'm Joanne Alfieri. I'm the district governor-elect from District 7890, and I'm going to start our speakers now. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Marty Hellman. Marty is a proud member of the Booth Bay Harbor Rotary Club. Marty also holds the position of Zone 32 Innovative Club Advocate. In 2012-13, she served as a district governor of District 7780. Marty is also the 2021 chair of the Rotary Foundation's Peace Major Gifts Initiative. Recently, Marty and her husband, Frank, directed funding from the Otto and Fran Walter Foundation to build a Rotary Peace Center in the Middle East. This is a major accomplishment. This is the first ever initiative in this part of the world. Marty is currently a trainer for Zone 2832. She served as international training leader at the 2018-19 International Assemblies and was the training leader support for IA 2021. She has been a trainer for governor-elects, governor nominees, and has been a facilitator for the Rotary Leadership Institute since 2009. and Northeast Pets since 2013. As you can see, Marty has been training at all levels throughout our Rotary world and is a popular speaker on the Rotary Foundation, the Rotary Peace Centers, and membership topics. In addition, Marty helped conceive and edit A String of Pearls, a book which tells the stories of Rotary Peace Fellows. Earlier, she used a Rotary Foundation volunteer service grant to research, write, and publish Rewriting the Future, a book designed to promote the educational needs in Guatemala. A creative thinker whose enthusiasm is infectious, please welcome to our program, Marty Hellman.
Thank you very much, Joanne. That introduction was way too long, and you left out the most important thing, which is that I started this Rotary journey as president-elect in 2005. And I'm here to tell all the presidents-elect in the room that you're in for the time of your life. It's only a year. Sometimes it will seem like a very long time. Sometimes it will seem very short, but it's only a year, and it's a wonderful year, and one that you will always treasure, I very much hope. Let's start with what we're going to talk about today, what we hope to accomplish today, and that's to talk about the Rotary's areas of focus, what they are, the original 6, the brand new one, just in time for your year, the environment, and more important than what they are, how you can put them to use in grant making, yes, but also in club activities, including membership development. So let's get started. Why do we have areas of focus, and where did they come from? Well, Rotary Foundation's grant process, as we know it today, was rolled out in 2014. And it came at the end of a 3-year pilot and after several years of development prior to that. And during that development period, so now about 12 years ago, the committee that was working on the new grant structure looked back and codified the kinds of projects that Rotarians had been investing in what we then called matching grants. So where did they come from? They came from us. These were the kinds of projects that we as Rotarians were investing in the first years of the century. Why did Rotary decide to have areas of focus? Why not just continue as is done with the old matching grant program, to leave it up to Rotarians to decide? And if they chose to do something on, I don't know what, historic preservation or arts management, what's wrong with that? Well, there were 2 reasons, really. The first is that we can't do everything as much as we'd like to, and it'd be nice if we were good at what it is we do. And the second reason is that Rotary developed policy statements around the areas of focus to affirm programs to sustainability and to make sure that the program fulfilled real needs in the community. Since they had these policy statements, obviously they needed to codify what the policy statements were working around. And we'll talk more about these policy statements and about sustainability in a minute. But first, let's look at each area of focus. As I say, there were originally 6, and they sort of create a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need to have clean water, and we need to prevent disease, child maternal health down at the bottom of the pyramid. Only when those things are in place can we worry about literacy, and then economic community development, and then peace and conflict prevention and resolution is at the top of the pyramid. Also, I should note that these were done, as I say, around 12, 15 years ago. At the time, the UN Millennium Goals were very much in the news. These track the same way, and that's not surprising considering the fact that our 2 organizations are similar in our goals of international humanitarian work. So, okay, the first one, water and sanitation. Now, I've listed some projects here, and both the projects and the pictures were taken in the developed world, but I suggest as we go through, you might think of some of the work in these areas of focus that can take place right here at home. For example, in water and sanitation, I've been hearing lately about rain barrel projects, which sound like an awful fun way to educate about stormwater runoff, and also offer a chance at public art as well. Also, in terms of water and sanitation, the good people of both Flint, Michigan and Houston, Texas would tell you that safe drinking water is not something that we should take for granted. Disease prevention and treatment. The Million Mask Challenge, which I think all of us in New England were involved in this year, is a tremendous project that falls into this area of focus. Child and maternal health. A few years ago, clubs in Massachusetts got together and they installed baby cams in neonatal clinics and hospitals so that moms and dads and grandparents could watch their babies 24/7. Literacy and basic education. Many clubs, including my own, no longer give a tchotchke or a coffee mug or something as a speaker gift, but instead give a book to the local library in the speaker's name. And little free libraries are another project that have taken a lot of Rotary clubs and their communities by storm. Economic and community development. I know an awful lot of clubs that have created bike trails or wheelchair access trails and beautification projects in their communities. Peace and conflict resolution, which is my favorite. Anti-bullying projects fall directly into this area of focus. So do any projects that support immigrant communities or communities of color or other underserved areas. Now, when you take these all together, these are statistics for the 1920 Rotary year, the most recent fully completed year. And you can see with the math that we have inked just around $100 million in a total of 1,359 global grants in the 6 areas of focus. The numbers that are shown here, last year's number, do not include COVID disaster grants. That was another 339 grants at a total value of almost $8.5 million, a third of which was spent in the United States. Nor does this include work in Polio Plus unless it's specifically a grant. And yet, even so, you'll see that 60% of the grants that we do, or that we did a year ago, were in disease prevention and treatment. That is by far the most popular area of focus. My personal favorite, which I already told you is peace building, is getting the smallest amount of attention. But a lot of that has to do with, there's an awful lot of peace building work that's being done in other areas of focus. For example, a few years, the Biddeford Soccer Club in my district in Maine organized a grant to support Syrian child refugees and make it possible for them to go to school in Lebanon. It was clearly a grant to support marginalized children, but it ended up being a literacy project, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But first, drum roll, please. I'd like to introduce you to our newest 7th area of focus, and that is the environment. Now, so why do we have a new area of focus? Well, several things came together. First of all, again, this area of focus is based on existing Rotary interest. In fact, $16 million in grants have been spent on environmental projects since 2014, mostly through the rubric of water and sanitation. In fact, my home club, the Boothby Harbor Rotary Club, is currently involved in a grant which will provide a toilet block in a community in Uganda. And the project includes planting an orchard to provide income for the young people in the community. Rotary International President Ian Reisley, he was president in 2017, 2018, and he's shown here. He really championed the idea of the environment as an area of focus. You may remember that President Ian asked every Rotarian to plant a tree during his year as Rotary International President. If everyone had done so, that would have been 2.1 million trees planted. In actual fact, I reached out to President Ian in planning this presentation, and I asked him how many trees actually got planted. And he told me he thinks the number is closer to 4.5 million trees. So clearly planting trees and the environment is something that is important to Rotarians. And finally, and perhaps most critically, if Rotary is to survive and thrive in the 21st century, we need to be responsive to the passions of the next generation of professionals and the needs around us. Our youth and young adults are especially cognizant of the need to protect our environment. We need to say so or lose relevancy. So here we are with the 7 areas of focus: basic education and literacy, disease prevention and treatment, water, sanitation, and hygiene, which makes up the best acronym in Rotary, WASH, community economic development, maternal child health, environmental support, and peace building and conflict resolution. Okay, well, we've got them. How are we supposed to use them? They were, of course, designed to be used in global grants. Now, this is not a grant management seminar by any means. However, I have been district foundation chair, and I know my global grant FAQs, my email used to be filled with them. And these 3 are at the top. So let's go through them very quickly. Which area of focus should I use? Well, the answer to that is only one. Let's say you're planning on a project which will provide clean drinking water to a school in an area that has recently known conflict. Well, whoopee, you've got water and sanitation there, you've got literacy, you've got peace. Let's click all 3. Don't. Because behind each area of focus in a global grant application are 6 or 7 requirements to be ticked off. So if you tick off 3 areas of focus, you just trebled the amount of work you need to do. Choose one. Which one are you going to choose? Well, you need to read the area of focus policy statement that's available on Rotary.org. I'll show you later how to get to it. And the area of focus policy statement tells you what Rotary calls the parameters for eligibility are. In other words, what Rotary expects you to come up with when you choose a particular area of focus. It'll help you think through what you'll need to do in terms of sustainable outcomes and measurable metrics. So choose the area of focus that works based on your metrics and based on your outcomes. Now you know why the literacy program I told you about for refugee kids in Lebanon was done as a literacy project, because the metrics had to do with learning. The metrics did not have to do with resolving the civil war and getting the kids back to Syria. Okay, frequently asked question number 2. What does Rotary mean by sustainable? Rotary has a very complicated graphic. You can find it on Rotary.org that reminds me of the old Chutes and Ladders board game. Don't use it. In my experience, it's a lot more straightforward to ask yourself the question, what will happen to the project when the Rotarians go home? And when you ask that project, you really need to think about 3 things. The first is cash flow. The second is materials, and the third has to do with technology and information transfer. In terms of cash flow, you're going to need money in order to do maintenance and repairs. And I always think of a water project I saw that was designed to provide clean water for a school in the Philippines. The water project actually came out with 110, 115% of the water needed by the school, and the excess water was sold to local people in the community who preferred to buy it for a few pennies rather than walk however many miles to get water for free. That small amount of money supplied the community with a need, but it also provided some income that was available to fix the pumps and so forth when they went down. Local source materials. Now you know why wheelchair projects tend to use bicycle parts. I've seen a bicycle sitting in Nigeria with a girl crawling nearby because there was a no lug wrench or no something, and so the wheelchair was broken and she couldn't use it. So we want to always have locally sourced materials. And information transfer. This is the tough one because, but it needs to be done. I always use the example of Gift of Life, a wonderful program that provides heart surgeries for children. Gift of Life used to bring the children up to New England or Quebec or wherever to a teaching hospital and repair their hearts with pro bono surgery. Today, however, Gift of Life flies those pro bono docs down to the developing country and to teach local surgeons and docs new techniques. It's not as emotional as bringing little Maria to the United States or Canada and getting her a new heart. But so the fundraising may be harder for Gift of Life, I don't know. But the fact is that the money goes a lot further and little Maria will have better aftercare. Basically, what Rotary is asking us to do is to think holistically and to think big. And if you want to put it this way, there's a reason why Polio Plus is involved in immunizing the children of the world and ending polio, not just supplying wheelchairs all around the world. And I said earlier that I would tell you how to find the areas of focus policy statements. And believe you me, those are the URLs for the policy statements and also the terms and conditions statement. What's a lot easier is just to go to rotary.org/grants and go to the search field and search for areas of focus policy or terms and conditions, and they'll come right up. They're PDFs. Print them out, kill the tree, and you'll have them for the time that you're working on your grant project. Okay, but in addition to grants, how to use areas of focus in club activities? Well, as presidency-elect, I suggest you think, if you haven't done so already, think about what it is your club is known for in your community. If the answer is your annual wine auction or something similar, that's probably not a good thing for a lot of reasons, but primarily because it suggests that to be a Rotarian, you have to be more interested in partying and drinking than you are in doing good in the world. Now, that may be the truth, but let's not tell our communities that, because we need to be known for what it is we do. We need to be known for how it is we spend our money, not so much as people who are hitting up our neighbors in order to raise money for a charitable auction. So the areas of focus I find help me organize the way I talk about Rotary in our community, as it did when I went through and talked about each of the areas in this program. So frequently asked question number 4, does my club have to cover all 7 areas of focus? Short answer, no. Rotary International doesn't care. And in fact, in some parts of the world, lawyers get together and form a club, so they do mostly pro bono legal work, or docs get together and form a club and do mostly medical missions. If you want to cover all 7, God bless you, that's wonderful. But if you want to focus on 1 or perhaps 2, that's just fine as well. And that's the way that you can use areas of focus to build membership. I think every district in New England and Quebec should have an online eco club up and running by this time next year. Goodness knows there's enough interest. Such a club could have its business meetings online and then meet at the park or the bench or whatever for its service projects once or twice a month. And wouldn't that be fun? Or let's talk about an age-old problem in Rotary membership. A young mom or dad or maybe a grandparent who's busy caring for a toddler. In the old days, they'd probably have to drop out of Rotary in order to take care of that child. But today, your club could start a satellite of young moms and dads and people who are primarily interested in child activities and child welfare. Maybe they meet online during nap time. Maybe their projects have to do with focus on the local daycare center or the children's library. If they want to really think outside the box, they could get involved with an orphanage in a developing nation. But they could also keep their attention right here at home. They can do it all through the maternal child health area of focus, and they can make a discernible difference in the community as Rotarians. Frequently asked question number 5, does my club project have to fit within an area of focus? Again, remember that the areas of focus are designed only for global grants. That said, I'm hard pressed to think of a club project that wouldn't fit into an area of focus. Remember, again, the Rotarians didn't wait for the environmental area in order to start doing environmental projects. Remember that the areas of focus have to do with the measurable and sustainability factors of your project. A good example has to do with wheelchairs. Wheelchairs do not cure disease. Neither, for that matter, do eyeglasses or hearing aids. Projects involving supplying these prosthetics will not work under disease prevention and treatment. But wheelchairs and hearing aids and eyeglasses all make it possible for their users to go to school, to hold down jobs, and become active members in society. So such a project for kids probably is a literacy grant, and if it's for adults, it probably fits into economic and community development. Frequently asked question number 6, which area of focus is most likely to get funded? I'm here to assure you it doesn't work that way. Rotary loves equally each of its areas of focus. And I'm here to assure you that, a district governor can't decide that this year all we're going to fund is literacy. Again, it just doesn't work that way. Work on the one that means the most to you. So how are you going to use areas of focus in membership development? And the answer is in telling your Rotary story. So when I talk about my Rotary work, maybe I would talk about my work at Safe Passage, a literacy program in Guatemala that my husband Frank and I are involved in. And when I do, I tell it from the point of view of Juan Carlos, our sponsor student who received his high school diploma courtesy of his hard work with our financial help. And as a result, he can support his wife and the children that have come along since graduation, and he'll never, ever have to cross that desert, cross that river to work illegally in this country. That's building peace. That's the work of Rotary. Or I tell the story of some of the Rotary Peace Fellows that I've met along the way, including Mahmoud Rahimi, who I'm posing with here in 2015 at Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. Mahmoud is currently working at the university level in Nuristan province in his home country of Afghanistan, an area controlled by the Taliban. In fact, in the most recent picture I have of him, he's now wearing a beard, which I suspect is for his own protection. Mahmoud's job is to teach English, and he's doing that. But what he's really doing is working with young men and women to provide them with the tools they need to understand and stand for their rights and to continue their education. That's building peace. That's Rotary. Or I talk about my own home club's Veterans Appreciation Dinner, which we do every November, in which we invite all the vets and active duty service personnel in our community to dinner to thank them for their service. And they thank us for inviting us to dinner. And more than a few of them have taken me aside to tell me that that dinner is the first public recognition they've ever had for their military service to our country. That's building peace, and it's only possible through Rotary. So what's your Rotary story? Whatever it is, use the areas of focus to tell it. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Marty. Those were wonderful ideas. And I think that as a former president myself, there was nothing that was more incredible than to be able to hear different ideas from people and be able to take those ideas and put them into action in your own club. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for your enlightening talk on the 7 areas of focus. I think everyone is excited about the new environment piece that is coming in. Thank you again, Marty. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to all of you, Brenda Cressy, Rotary Foundation trustee. Brenda joined Rotary in 1989. She is currently a proud member of the Rotary Club of South Portland, Cape Elizabeth, Maine. Brenda has served in several key roles for Rotary International, including the Rotary Foundation, District Governor in 2001-2002, a regional membership and foundation coordinator, an endowment major gift advisor. In 2018-19, Brenda was honored to serve as the first female vice chair and later chair of the Rotary Foundation. She will continue her term as trustee through 2021. Her passion has always been to see an end to polio. It is her mission and very reason she joined Rotary. Having participated in several Rotary humanitarian projects around the world, she is proud Rotary alumnus. Brenda has witnessed firsthand how our gifts to the Rotary Foundation greatly impact the lives of others and will someday bring peace and understanding around the world. Brenda is the recipient of the Rotary International Service Above Self Award and the Rotary Foundation's Citation for Meritorious Service and the Foundation's highest recognition, the Distinguished Service Award. Brenda lives in Maine with her husband, Richard. They are members of the Arch Plum Society, major donors, members of the Paul Harris and New Legacy Societies, and have established the Brenda and Richard Cressy Endowment for Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, Brenda Cressy.
Thank you so much, Joanne, and good evening, President-elects and all my friends here tonight. Thank you, past Governor Marty, for that outstanding overview of the many ways our members can learn more, understand more, and fall in love with the miracles and wonders of the Rotary Foundation by way of the 7 areas of focus. You know, whenever I have an opportunity to speak at a PETS training, I always wonder what attendees will hear and take away from my presentations. So at the end of my talk this evening, I'm going to ask you to put in your takeaway in the chat room for both Marty and I. But people who know me know I love the Rotary Foundation. And I also believe that our Rotary Foundation is truly the lifeblood of the organization. Why do I say this? It's because of the many passionate Rotarians who I've had the pleasure to meet, who are changing the world every single day. And when speaking to clubs about our foundation, I like to share a time in history as it continues to be most relevant, especially today. So it's back in 1984-85, perhaps long before many of us became Rotarians. And it was Rotary International President Carlos Canseco of Monterrey, Mexico, and his term that remains an important time for many, many reasons. During his presidency, he not only set a record of chartering 968 Rotary clubs around the world, but it was his board of directors who proposed and his board that accepted the audacious Polio Plus program and that initial campaign to fund it. His theme in 1984 and 85 was Discover a New World of Service. At that time, he wrote and often spoke of the importance and relevance of his theme. Without a doubt, he touched heartstrings of his clubs and of members around the world. This evening, I'd like you to consider much of what he wrote, some now 34 years later. To quote President Carlos, he said, "Because the world is always changing, our challenge this year is to discover a new world of service, to find new ways to expand opportunities for service in existing programs and activities in our clubs, communities, vocations, and in our world. We are more than survivors in a universe of change," he said. "We are leaders in education for peace, service to the hungry, the ill, and the handicapped." And then he continues. He says, "Like ships carrying great discoverers, Rotary clubs are vehicles of change. The great ideas and activities of Rotary have always started in the minds of individual Rotarians and local clubs. Ideas that became realities because Rotarians were willing to explore and discover new ways to serve. In the future, men, and allow me to paraphrase here in today's world, that all Rotarians follow in the wake of our ships of service. We'll see throughout the world the effects of our dedication to serve our fellow man," end quote. So I encourage each of you as club president-elects, when you think of your own club's history, to find ways to celebrate service at each one of your meetings next year. It's important to celebrate in the wake of your ships of service. So let me ask each of you this evening to visualize now where your club, your district, or Rotary International might be in 5 years or 10 years from now. And I want you to see that and then ask yourself, are you really satisfied with what you see? So I'd like you to really think about what it is that you can do beginning today to create a fire to inspire others. Will the members of your club continue to engage and expand on the incredible work your club has realized and accomplished over these last 5 or 10 years? let me remind you about the power of one. Why do we value our own personal membership in this organization? I think the reasons are many, and clearly most of those reasons relate back to our Rotary Foundation's impact and now our 7 areas of focus. So, who will save small children from having to live or worse die with polio? Who will help to eliminate poverty in the world? Who will save the millions of children who have lost their parents to devastating diseases such as AIDS? Who will dig water wells in developing countries? Who will provide cataract surgery to prevent blindness? Who will concern themselves to help make their communities a better place to live? Who will mentor and educate our children to learn about service? And who will strive for peace and understanding in the world? In other words, who will care? How can we as Rotarians even begin creating the fire to inspire others to join us? For 116 years now, the members of Rotary International have been connecting lives and affecting lives. And it's your participation, your involvement and support that all become increasingly important to the success of your clubs, especially when it comes to Rotary in our highly rated Rotary Foundation. You know, as Rotarians, we learn, we share, we build better friendships. And yes, whenever we leave a Rotary meeting or function, we dream the possible dreams. Another past Rotary International president, Jonathan Maggiabi, also had a great theme. It was lend a hand, and he asked us to lend a hand to alleviate abject poverty, lend a hand to educate the illiterate, lend a hand to relieve the scourge of disease, and to lend a hand of fellowship to all the family of Rotary. And this year, despite the pandemic and these unprecedented times, I am so pleased to see how our clubs continue to be phenomenally successful. Clubs are not only successful and independent, but this past year, I watched Rotarians come together in new and different ways with increased purpose. I would also say in the process, many became quite spirited and committed to keeping the legacy of their club strong and viable. And this was due to the unselfish support of its members and the many dedicated, knowledgeable leaders, past and present, who guide and support you to continue to make all of your Rotary dreams come true today for a better tomorrow. So continued support during your year as president, not only in the 5 avenues of service, but also in direct support of the 7 areas of focus that Marty spoke about, reminds us to not take lightly the incredible and generous amount of support it takes to eradicate polio, Rotary's #1 priority. And speaking of #1, Rotary is the #1 premier service organization in the world. One of the reasons I feel Rotary is so vibrant and growing is because we're not single focused. There's something for everyone. Whether you've been in Rotary for 20 years, 1 year, 1 month, whether you're involved in club, community, vocational, international service, or working with a significant asset in our communities, our youth, and especially our new equal partners, our enthusiastic Rotaractors. Rotary leadership at every level needs to recognize how important every single member is to the organization. But certainly, it's always our club president who we can count on to nurture our members and to find ways to constantly create the fires in both our new and long-term members as they continue to make a difference in the world. It's important to inform your prospective members of what your club is involved in, both in your community and the world. Be sure to tell them about the fact that we are the only service organization in the world helping to eradicate polio. Ask Rotarians who participated in National Immunization Days to share that joyful and life-changing event when they personally placed those 2 precious drops of vaccine into the mouths of babies, children under the age of 5. Remember to share these with your members, and remember that the children around the world will remain steadfast and happy. Most of you find yourself in this position today as your club's incoming president, because you too have been generous with your time and resources. And in the coming year, you will be responsible to lead your club, to encourage your members, and to remain engaged in the good work of Rotary and the Foundation. It is you, the club president, who will create an atmosphere of service in your community and internationally. So let's continue to work together on projects and enjoying good old Rotary fellowship. All of this reinforces to us what it really means to be a Rotarian. Without a doubt, each of you knows what it means to be the best Rotarian you can be. It's a proven combination of committed leadership, support from you, the members of your club, along with those quality new members that bring about continued high energy, enthusiasm, and vision. So as we look ahead, we know that each club forms its own special traditions, and its leaders and members bring about new possibilities and greater accomplishments. But let us always remember it cannot be done alone. It belongs and it involves the full commitment of the entire club, every single Rotarian. In addition, let us not forget that Rotarians and their partners and their families are the ears and the eyes in our communities. And at times, we may be the only hope for those who feel hopeless. Rotary clubs must have a plan, and that plan is simple. It is to serve and to make a difference. Rotarians who continue to emphasize the importance of service will change the world a little bit every day, not only ridding the world of polio, but by sharing a vision of world peace and understanding with all Rotarians around the world. Rotarians enhance the basic principles of our organization, which includes integrity, honor, fairness, tolerance, and humanitarianism. And our founder, Paul Harris, once said, "Let us keep our hearts strong, enthusiasm fresh, and hope high. As long as we keep imbued with this spirit, Rotary can never die." So today I ask we each renew our pledge to better serve your communities and stay involved in Rotary, and to have fun by developing stronger friendships with our fellow Rotarians. Soon the pandemic will be behind us, and Rotarians will be anxiously waiting to be together and to give and receive those Rotary hugs that we're all missing so much. Keep in mind too that Rotary strength comes from your personal commitment and your dedication to serve. We each hold the key to the future of your great club and to Rotary. It's called service to others and making a difference. So please hold that key close to your heart, because this is what's going to lead us into a brighter and more hopeful Rotary tomorrow. You see, as Rotarians, we can all make a real and significant difference in our communities and in our world. Remember the power of one. Remember that each of you can help create that fire. Each of you can inspire others to join hands and to make all dreams possible in the next 5, 10, or 20 years. Connecting lives and affecting lives. This is our challenge, but it's also our gift to the children and to the people around the world. I thank Rotary every day for creating the fire within each one of us. So before I close, now is the time to write your takeaway from what you just heard from Marty and I. And with that, with the exceptional information that Marty shared with us earlier, I'd like to provide you with some Possible foundation action items as you prepare to lead your club. Share Rotary's vision statement and Rotary's action plan, what I call the 4 pillars. Increase our impact, expand participation engagement, expand our reach, and increase our ability to adapt and be flexible. Well, we've done all of that this year. Let's continue. Ensure continuity within each of your committees. Be prepared and always add a co-chair who will quickly take on responsibilities today and into the future. Work closely with your successor. Clearly define priorities beyond membership and be sure to include the Rotary Foundation. Include your members to engage in learning development training available online and more about the Rotary Foundation, the different ways to give or how to participate in projects and programs of the foundation. And most of all, support your club foundation chair and understand and support them. The responsibilities are great. These are some of the things that are included in their responsibilities. They attend the district training, they promote foundation grants and activities, they help members participate and engage. They work with you and the club president-elect to select and prepare committee members for next year. They inspire club members to support the foundation and the importance of every Rotarian every year in Polio Plus. They create subcommittees, not only for international service, but fund development, annual fund, polio, Paul Harris Society, Bequest Society. It goes on, and the critical committee structure will help engage more members while helping all members to have a better understanding of the foundation. The club foundation and club president might consider inspirational foundation focused programs at a minimum of 4 times a year or more, I hope. But provide a Rotary Foundation moment at the end or at the beginning of each meeting, and have your newer members assigned to this task so they too have a better understanding of the foundation. Provide committee updates to the club membership of your board. But most importantly, please serve as a role model. Make your gifts early in the year and encourage others to follow, especially your board. So as I send you into your breakout rooms, please know that your understanding of the Rotary Foundation, your passion and your support will be critical to the success of your club. In the end, I know you will celebrate how it was that together you not only achieved, but exceeded your goals. So reach higher and enjoy the rest of your pet sessions this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. And thank you, Marty, for 2 incredibly great talks. My takeaway is tell the story. And I think that you both really drove that home, that if we tell the story of Rotary, then people will learn about the foundation, but they will learn about our good work in the community. So that was really, really wonderful. We have a lot of takeaways in the chat box, and I could read a few of them for you if you'd like to hear them before we break away for our breakout sessions and our AG program. So Marty, you have a gig. Someone would like you to come and speak at their Rotary Club meeting. I think that's pretty great. And you don't have to work on all the focus areas, but choose areas that your club can get excited about. Let's see, inspire, think big. Rotary is not a single focus. There's a volunteer opportunity for everyone. You don't have to work on all the focus areas. Choose an area that can work for your club. Great idea to introduce initiative of donating books to a library instead of giving speakers a token of appreciation. I can say that my Rotary Club donates a book to a library in the name of a speaker each time they come. So I was really happy to see that. Celebrate your service, refocus on 1 or 2 focus areas, motivate and plan. Really, really great, great takeaways that we got from Marty and from Brenda. So I thank you both very much for that. Those were really, really great talks. I'd like you both to know that as a token of our appreciation, we are sending each of you a gift box of maple products that come from Quebec and all the various states that are covered by the districts that we are part of.